in prison where I am, they will kill you, or they will pay, somebody can pay a prisoner to kill you for $25 worth of commissary.
I was so young. Ghilane woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince.
Jeffery Epstein's ex-girlfriend Ghilane Maxwell has allegedly confessed to a hidden folder of A-list celebrities who were well acquainted with Jeffrey Epstein. Insiders say that she is exposing these individuals in order to maintain her privileges behind bars, which according to sources include personal time, privatized meals, and access to an emotional support pet.
A whistleblower is telling the top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee that Jeffrey Epstein accomplice Ghilane Maxwell is getting special treatment in prison and actively preparing a commutation application. In a letter from Congressman Jamie Raskin addressed directly to President Trump, Raskin says the whistleblower at Maxwell's new prison camp alleges that her extraordinary treatment includes customized meals delivered directly to her, visits to the prison exercise area after hours with a prison guard escort, and even access to a service dog in training to play with. This whistleblower also claims that one top prison official complained that he is, quote, sick of having to be Maxwell's B-word.
Insiders also say that powerful, high-ranking officials have been quietly visiting Ghilane in prison, and every time one shows up, part of the facility reportedly goes on full lockdown mode. No cameras, no guards, no witnesses.
Within a day of her arrival, we had armed guards, marshals, patrolling. If she had a visitation, she would get to, they closed the chapel and the indoor rec and allowed her to use that building for her personal visits. She'd get bottled waters and clamshell meals delivered to her rooms.
According to receipts, Ghilane met twice with the U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche under the order of former Attorney General Pam Bondi. After these private meetings, she was moved to the minimum security prison where she's currently serving her sentence.
Attorney General Bondi, I think you and pretty much everybody else here and throughout the country believes that convicted offenders don't deserve special treatment or privileges in prison. And yet Ghilane Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, received perk after perk in prison. In July, she had a 2-day interview with your deputy and President Trump's former defense attorney, Todd Blanche. Just days after that, Maxwell was transferred from a federal correctional institution in Florida to a minimum security camp in Texas, which she, as a sex offender, would normally be ineligible for. At this new facility, as the ranking member talked about, and by the way, it's nicknamed Club Fed. We've heard reports that she's been afforded special privileges, puppy time, private workouts, personal mail, secretarial services. Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted offender like Ghilane Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
Let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower
Mr. Chairman,
level.
please stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to understand.
And I'm glad that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things.
Sources have reported that Ghilane has been getting special treatment while inmates and prison guards around her walk on eggshells. Officials who dared to speak about her reportedly lost their jobs, while fellow inmates who spoke to the press were immediately dealt a shorthand of a stick. Take Julie Howell, for instance. Julie was a former associate professor at Tarleton State University who was sentenced in June 2025 for a white-collar crime. She served part of her 1-year sentence in the same facility with Ghilane Maxwell and spilled to the press how Ghilane was being treated differently. Shortly after Julie's meeting with the press, she was moved to a maximum security facility where she served out the rest of her sentence.
I was very upset about her being moved. Given her crime, she shouldn't be there per BOP policies and procedures. And so it was very unfair.
A few days later, Howell learned that she was in trouble.
The guard came in and he said, "Howell, they want you in the lieutenant's office." And then he says, "Did you speak to a reporter?" And I was like, "Oh, yes." He said, "Well, it's all over the World Wide Web." And he's just telling me that, I messed up and I'm going to be shipped The warden came in and asked like what I was thinking, said that her phone was blowing up all weekend. I ruined her weekend. You know, I shouldn't have talked to them. And I did apologize. I mean, at this point, I'm a little teary-eyed. And when I told her that my daughter had, you know, a trafficking experience, she rolled her eyes and flipped her hair back. And she was like, it's too late for apologies, and walked out.
Howell was shipped out to a higher security prison in Houston.
Reports claim that this is the manner in which Ghilane has been shielded since her arrest. However, a whistleblower just revealed that in order for Ghilane to keep the special treatment coming, she had to name some names. Which brings us to an alleged document of A-list celebrities who Ghilane supposedly mentioned in her confession. Sources close to the situation say that the following celebrities have been allegedly labeled disposable, hence why they are now being exposed. Starting off strongly is Ellen DeGeneres, whose name reportedly comes up over 1,000 times in the Epstein files. According to reports, Ellen is named as Hollywood's most prolific consumer.
The Epstein files reveal Ellen DeGeneres as, and I'm quoting this directly from the posts, Hollywood's most prolific cannibal, that she consumed human flesh. People are sharing distorted images of her face, writing paragraphs about underground dystopias, calling her a vampire.
Observers have also pointed out that the background of Ellen's show bears striking resemblance to a temple on Jeffrey Epstein's island. The colors, the palm trees, the ambiance.
Did you know that Ellen DeGeneres' stage set is exactly the same as on Epstein Island, with all the couches, the same colour, the same soft furnishings, palm trees, window, everything to the T. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Hey, we're getting some up now.
Getting some up now on our screen.
Yeah, there's palm trees. You're right.
But look at the backdrop behind her, striped building.
Emma, there's
palm
nothing
trees.
to see here.
So don't berate her.
I'm not berating, I'm just saying.
I'm going to look further.
But that's not all. The controversies that surround the word pizza have now been exposed. And going back in time, Ellen has been known to bring up pizza quite a lot on her shows.
Bring that pizza in. Where is it? That's right. Hi. We've known each other for years. Yep. You've been to my house. We've had pizza. Girl after my own heart. Do we love a pizza or what? We love a pizza. We do. It's so.
Aniston will say to me in the middle of the night whenever I'm with her, something cool. She'll be like, "You see?" And I'll be like, "No, you're right. This is great. This is great." She'll text me and say, "I know something. You know, Wednesday night if you want." I'll be like, "Come on, we just did that Saturday thing."
She's busy all the time. I know she's the greatest host.
Parties are incredible at her house too.
Yeah, she does have good parties, and she makes good pizza as well.
She makes great pizza.
Wonderful pizza.
She even ordered pizza at the Oscars, which observers are claiming was an inside joke amongst the elites.
I have this crazy idea that I will order pizza, and so if I do, I don't want it to go to waste. Who will eat pizza if I... Jennifer, yes? Harrison?
Speaking of the elites, Jay-Z's name has also been allegedly mentioned in the files. According to the receipts, a witness statement from 1996 by a Jane Doe claims that she was abducted from her home and dosed up, only to wake up in the presence of Harvey Weinstein. Jay-Z and Pusha T. Jane Doe believes that this happened at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion in Florida.
I'm saying Jay-Z is just like Diddy, but sneakier. I genuinely don't think y'all understand how much of a shift this is going to make in the music industry with him being named in the Epstein files with all the power he has. Jay-Z's going down. I just know all the Jay-Z defenders feel real stupid right now. Y'all was calling Nicki Minaj crazy and saying, oh, she's losing her mind. She's a schizophrenic. Jay-Z ain't trying to do nothing to her. Now this man name on the Epstein files. What the girls gotta say? Because y'all didn't believe anything, not even just when it came to Nicki Minaj, but anything any artist had to say in regards to Jay-Z. Y'all took it for a joke. And now he's in the files.
Nicki Minaj has been saying for a hot minute that Jay-Z is not the man he appears to be on the surface, but nobody believed her. They labeled her unhinged, erratic, and unstable. The same thing happened with Jaguar Wright after she went on Piers Morgan to expose Jay-Z. She was called a liar, and Piers Morgan had to take down his interview with her.
Like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real, for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further, the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clyde Davis has been his greatest teacher.
According to Jaguar, Jay-Z, Diddy, and Harvey Weinstein are part of an elite circle connected directly to Jeffrey Epstein. While Diddy has been exposed, Jay-Z still remains protected. Harvey Weinstein, on the other hand, is currently navigating an ongoing criminal retrial and multiple civil lawsuits for decades of SA and complicity within the entertainment industry.
I don't feel comfortable.
Honey, don't have a fight with me in the hall. Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please come in. On everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now.
Please come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my jacket, you can go.
Yesterday you touched my breast.
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that.
As the world knows now, Harvey Weinstein was surrounded by allegations going back decades from women who said that he sexually harassed and assaulted them.
Do you have any advice for a young girl moving to Hollywood?
I'll get live over that. Harvey Weinstein invites you to a private party in the Four Seasons.
They were described as an open secret for years in Hollywood, but they never broke, and there are a lot of reasons for that. In the fall of 2016, Harvey Weinstein became aware that a number of women were starting to talk. One of the precipitating events for that was Rose McGowan, the actress, tweeted saying that Harvey Weinstein, she heavily implied without naming him, was, in her words, her rapist.
Harvey Weinstein reportedly hired an Israeli agency whose task was to suppress any channels through which his victims could expose him.
Over the course of the past year, a woman calling herself Diana Phillip of Rubin Capital Partners reached out to Rose McGowan through a literary agency working with her. All seemed very legit. They offered her a great deal of money to speak at a gala kickoff event for a women's rights campaign that they were operating, right in Rose McGowan's area of interest. As it turns out, Rubin Capital Partners was a fake front company. She was, in fact, an agent for Black Cube, this elite Israeli private intelligence firm, operating undercover using multiple identities to extract information. He assigned them to kill forthcoming stories about these allegations and to ferret out information about which women were talking. Rose McGowan was very much in the crosshairs here. She says that she was gaslit, that everybody lied to her, that she was living in a world of funhouse mirrors.
Sources are alleging that this was the same agency that Jeffrey Epstein used to cover his crimes for decades, while women like Ghilane Maxwell worked as his recruiter. Speaking of being a recruiter, Naomi Campbell's name allegedly comes up in the files as a recruiter for Jeffrey Epstein too. She has had a long-standing friendship with him spanning decades, and according to the reports, during this time, Naomi recruited young models or wannabe models for Jeffrey Epstein and his inner circle in exchange for money, power, and favors. Naomi was also Diddy's ex-girlfriend. So if you think Epstein's world and Diddy's never intersected, think again.
Situation, like, there's so many intersections between Epstein and Diddy that we're not even paying attention to. And people who were regulars in the Epstein crew, like, I'm still shocked that there's nothing about Naomi Campbell really coming forward yet. I'm surprised. I'm like bitterly surprised. Her time.
Yeah, they said there was, her name was on the list like the most as far as like flight records.
Yeah.
She was on a lot of flights.
A lot of flights.
You mentioned
also Diddy's ex-girlfriend.
Hey.
Isn't that funny? What a small world.
There you go.
Speaking of powerful women who were allegedly in constant contact with Jeffrey Epstein, Oprah Winfrey's name has also entered the group chat. Reports claim that she appears dozens of times on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs. Her jet also allegedly logged 11 Epstein Island visits. When you attach this information to headlines about missing girls from her leadership academy in South Africa, it adds a thick layer of suspicion to her ties with Jeffrey Epstein.
Does she always have this body? Stand up just a moment. Now this is what I call a body.
I was like the chattel or a child, like be seen and not heard. When you look at it through today's eyes, when Oprah's like, stand up and show me your body, Like, show us why you're worthy of being here. In the moment, I didn't recognize it. Only when I look back at it and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so not okay, really.
Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls. She was arrested yesterday for several charges, including indecent assault, as well as soliciting girls under the age to commit indecent assault. And she's now at the Vereeniging police cells.
Matole Machaka for that. Thank you.
I think the school has been open because they handed us a report of what was happening there, and they asked us to investigate what was happening there. And on our investigation, we arrested a woman who's a former employee. I think they have been open to make sure that all the criminal acts that have been taken place in the school are being investigated.
See you later.
Richard Branson has also been named in the files, although he claims that there was no wrongdoing on his part. However, email exchanges like this suggest otherwise. Dear Jeffrey, it was really nice seeing you yesterday. The boys in water sports can't stop speaking about it. Anytime you're in the area, would love to see you, as long as you bring your harem.
One of the biggest questions from the latest batch of the Epstein files is what exactly was Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with billionaire Richard Branson? We've known that Branson's private Caribbean island is only 10 minutes away from Epstein's by plane, and that Epstein kept a framed picture of the two of them in his New York mansion. But Paste magazine recently dug into the full timeline of their relationship as shown in the files, and it is a lot more extensive than we realized. In fact, it appears Epstein and Branson met first in 2006 when Branson was putting together an elder statesman council of the world and asked Epstein who he thinks should be on it, and again in 2011 on Branson's island because Epstein thanked him for his hospitality. After that meeting, Epstein tried to coax Branson to his island with the promise of both types of fun people, and in another exchange, Branson signed off with love to the girls. 2013 is when they start meeting regularly, and even though Virgin Group says they just had brief business meetings, after the first one, Epstein says he spent the day with Branson and had great fun, which doesn't sound professional, and we see Epstein brought 2 Russian girls to the island with him. Virgin also claimed that Epstein was merely the +1 of a mutual entrepreneur friend who's probably Dean Kamen who invented the Segway, but we can see Branson personally invited Epstein. After this second meeting, Branson praises Epstein's harem, and even though Virgin claims he was just referring to the adult members on Epstein's team, Pace investigated all 3 women, and it's clear they were victims. One woman was introduced to Epstein by a model scout and and flown around to Epstein's different homes. Another was sent to dietitians, hair removal experts, and acne doctors to please Epstein, and frequently out to New York Giants chairperson Steve Tisch. This is around the time Branson now infamously offered Epstein PR advice. You slipped up many years ago by sleeping with a 17-and-a-half-year-old woman and were punished for it. More than learned your lesson and have done nothing that's against the law since. And yes, as a single man, you seem to have a penchant for women, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this timeline that Pace magazine put together is so thorough. We know that a couple months later, Branson invited Epstein to the tennis tournament on his island. And it seems while there, Epstein invited him to a Christmas gathering with Woody Allen and offered to donate to Branson's charity. This is crazy. The charity found red flags, so they didn't accept Epstein's money, but Branson still went to Epstein's island after that. Branson's spokesperson says he only visited Epstein to tour the island in case he wanted to buy it, but we don't see that anywhere in the files. While there's no information in these emails suggesting Branson committed any crimes, this timeline definitely shows a longer and more personal relationship than what's been previously acknowledged.
Television producer and VP of the New York Giants, Steve Tisch, has also come under intense scrutiny after his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was exposed alongside dozens of emails where they discussed women. Mind you, this was well after Jeffrey Epstein was already a convicted offender.
His communications with Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein had been convicted once, after he had been given the highest level possible of offender status, after everyone who was in a position to know or should know who and what Jeffrey Epstein was. That's when Steve Tisch was communicating, called it a brief association. The information that's been released and reported by the likes of The Athletic and the Wall Street Journal paint a picture of anything but brief. But they had this arrangement apparently where Jeffrey Epstein was trying to connect Steve Tisch with dates. And the NFL has taken a very basic, perfunctory, we have to gather the facts. We have to investigate whether we'll investigate. We'll look into it. I mean, technically that's an investigation, but it's kind of like a pre-investigation. Like, we're not investigating him yet. We're just investigating whether or not we need to investigate.
While most of the individuals mentioned in the files were allegedly indulging with minors in one way or the other, Woody Allen had other concerns. Reports that Jeffrey Epstein and his cohort ate pizza have already left the group chat, but according to a recent data poll, no one enjoyed it more than Woody Allen, who in one email compared Epstein's residence to Castle Dracula.
A text exchange buried in newly released files has exploded across social media, and messages between filmmaker Woody Allen and the late sex offender financier Jeffrey Epstein, referencing hearts and bones, have ignited widespread shock and disgust online. The exchange revealed in the Department of Justice files show Epstein writing, and I quote, "He didn't just cause heartburn, he ate them, hearts," unquote. To which Allen replied, "Thanks, at least I'm thinner." Epstein responded by saying, "Because you also eat the bones, providing fiber." And Allen replied, "I don't like waste." Claims that Jeffrey Epstein was a cannibal have splashed across social media again, though there is no direct evidence of him eating human remains. Social media reports say this was one of the horrifying things indulged in on Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
With each name that is revealed in the files, a new tension sparks, leaving people to wonder if celebrities are really worth idolizing, because this next name is far from what anyone could have imagined. Chris Tucker, sources close to the situation, allege that the media is doing everything to suppress this information. However, it's already out there. Chris Tucker allegedly had close ties to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell through the director of Rush Hour, Brett Ratner. Although Chris has mentioned that he had no personal ties with Jeffrey Epstein, neither did he know of his wrongdoings. However, photos of Chris with victims of Jeffrey Epstein compromises these claims.
We have new photos like this one coming out of Chris Tucker in the new Epstein files that were released to the public. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit shocked to see that they didn't include this photo that has been circulated of Chris Tucker with one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. Now, Chris Tucker being mentioned in the Epstein files is honestly nothing new. We saw the flight logs years ago that had Chris Tucker's name alongside of Ghilane Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, and Kevin Spacey. And there was also another victim of Epstein that came out and spoke about this specific Africa trip. And she was from Africa, and she was recruited into Jeffrey Epstein's orbit on this specific trip. And she claims that Jeffrey Epstein used his illusion of wealth and his connections to people like Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, and Bill Clinton in this trip to get her into his orbit. Important to know that none of these victims have ever publicly said that there was any wrongdoing by Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, Bill Clinton, or anybody else, but we do know for a fact that they were victims of Epstein. Before we get into that survivor's statements about how she was lured into Jeffrey Epstein's orbit on that Africa trip, I do have to talk about the fact that we are seeing Brett Ratner, the director of the Rush Hour movies, also in this drop, in this picture with Jean-Luc Burnell. Yes, and Jean-Luc Burnell had his own allegations, and there's even proven facts out there in the Epstein files that were released way earlier that Jean-Luc Burnell was literally having young girls brought to Epstein. Like this, he has a teacher for you to teach you how to speak Russian. She is 2 times 8 years old, not blonde. And yes, Jean-Luc Burnell is also the one when all of his allegations came about and he was arrested. He was also found like Epstein in his jail cell. That's just the basic rundown of Jean-Luc Burnell. And even though this is completely new to see Brett Ratner connected in these Epstein files, his behavior is nothing new that we haven't heard before. There was a slew of allegations that came against him from multiple different women, and then Warner Brothers ended up terminating his contracts with them because of all of these different allegations. He was also accused by a woman of being present when she was being SA'd by Russell Simmons. His career was basically ruined after Warner Brothers refused to keep on working with him. But earlier this year, at Trump's request, they let Brett produce the new Rush Hour 4 that is coming out.
According to the reports, moving in the same circle with Chris Tucker was Kevin Spacey, who is named in the files in email exchanges and flight logs. Although Kevin mentions that he was only associated with Jeffrey Epstein due to humanitarian acts in Africa. However, it has now been confirmed that there were minors on the plane during those humanitarian flights.
Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these girls. And we were like, who is this guy?
So girls on those flights?
There were young on those flights, yeah. And that's been out. They've talked about it. There's a big difference between not remembering that I met some guy and some woman on a humanitarian trip where my focus was entirely on what we were there to do, and not remembering whether I went to somebody's island. So I never went to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I did not know him, and I never saw him or her after that morning at Buckingham Palace. He didn't even come to Buckingham Palace. She was only there.
Is it true that Prince Andrew sought your assistance and wanted you to testify that Ghislaine Maxwell was your guest, not his, during that Buckingham Palace tour?
I heard a report about that, but at no time did anyone ever contact me on his behalf. And as I say, I'm not friends with him. I never saw him after that day.
Kevin's own records of primary legal battles centered around SA charges in the UK, and the US makes it quite impossible for the public to believe that he wasn't involved in some way with Jeffrey's shenanigans. Right now, everybody's denying their associations with Jeffrey Epstein, including Elon Musk, who, according to reports, was one of the people who wanted to party with Jeffrey Epstein so badly. Elon reportedly sent emails asking what the wildest days are on Jeffrey's island. Mind you, this was well after Jeffrey was already legally labeled a predator.
Elon Musk asked Jeffrey Epstein when the wildest party on his island was going to be. That was on November 25th, 2012, and a month later on Christmas, Elon Musk is emailing again saying, "Do you have any parties?" He says he really wants to let loose, and a peaceful island experience is the opposite of what he wants. And Jeffrey Epstein is going to send a helicopter to come get him. It is Christmas morning, and he is asking a offender who has already been prosecuted for soliciting prostitution from a minor when the wildest party is going to be on his private island. A couple months later, Jeffrey Epstein and multiple assistants all went to SpaceX for a visit and a lunch with Elon. And you can read in the emails about Jeffrey bringing multiple young assistants with him to SpaceX. Later that same year in 2013, Christmas comes around again, and Elon Musk is emailing about another holiday visit. Here at the bottom, it says, "Elon Musk, we will be in the St. Bart's area. Is there a good time to visit?" Jeffrey Epstein says, "Always space for you." Elon Musk sends 2 emails, and I guess didn't get a response, because then Jeffrey Epstein's assistant up here, Leslie Groff, had to remind Jeffrey to respond. So he kind of got a little bit ghosted by the pedophile that he really wanted to hang out with. So it seems like he spent multiple Christmases or multiple holiday visits at Jeffrey Epstein's island, or at least really, really, really tried to get there.
Moving on to controversial names that are allegedly in the files is Katy Perry.
How do you keep up performing night after night? I drink the blood of virgins.
Her music video, Bon Appetit, where she presents herself as food on a platter, has been intensely scrutinized by critics, who say the video had a lot of symbolisms connected to things that happened on Jeffrey Epstein's island. Take a listen.
Katy Perry's music video, Bon Appetit, has a lot of similarities to Epstein in the files, and I want to make you guys aware of it. In this first video, she's getting a massage. It seems harmless, but no, it's still weird. Just follow along with me and I'll keep showing you guys why. Now, this second video, she's on a cutting board, getting vegetables thrown on her, and it reminds me of this picture that was in the files. Now, were you guys paying attention to the floor? If not, that is fine, because I have another part where you can see the floor, and that floor is the same floor that was in Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. And then in this last part, you can see she's being served to the elites.
Katy Perry's lawsuit of SA by Ruby Rose, which allegedly happened 20 years ago when Ruby was quite young, is another factor that has people eyeballing Katy hard, doubting her innocence in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
So is a 20-year-old allegation about to become a major legal battle? We gotta talk about what's happened between Ruby Rose and Katy Perry. So it all started on Threads during Coachella. Ruby Rose posted some very graphic and very serious allegations against Katy Perry, claiming that she was sexually assaulted at a Melbourne nightclub nearly 2 decades ago. Now, CNN has reached out to Ruby Rose multiple times. We have not gotten a response. Now, here is where this moves from post to police. After initially saying that she was not interested in filing a police report, Ruby Rose posted that she decided to file one. And Victoria Police confirmed to CNN in a statement that officials from the Melbourne Offenses and Child Abuse Investigation team, they are now investigating. And they declined to give any additional information or comment because it's now an ongoing investigation. Now, Ruby Rose has since deleted that post and states she can no longer speak publicly about the matter. On the flip side, Katy Perry's team, well, they are not staying quiet. Her representatives, they released a statement, and they called those claims, those allegations, categorically false and, quote, dangerous, reckless lies. Now, who has jurisdiction? Australia, where it allegedly happened. And even though it's been nearly 20 years, there's actually no statute of limitations on reporting in that jurisdiction. So whether this ends up leading to criminal charges or a civil defamation suit or vindication or anything else, it's all a massive reminder that social media posts have real-world legal consequences.
Lady Gaga has also reportedly been named in close association with the Epstein files. Her name allegedly pops up in email exchanges between Jeffrey Epstein and American author Deepak Chopra, who mentioned that Lady Gaga was an interesting person to bring to the island. Whether or not Lady Gaga eventually visited Epstein's island is unknown, but sources continue to reference these images of her, which are deeply disturbing. Gaga is also very close, sharing almost like a motherly bond with Marina Abramovich, who we now know had ties to Jeffrey Epstein and a long-standing scandal known as spirit cooking.
Sorry.
They had all these weird emails where they were talking about spirit cooking.
Yep.
Can you look up the lady that does the spirit cooking?
Yep. Cooking.
So there is a woman.
Did I hear that right? Yep.
Yes. So there's a woman that in these elite circles will have spirit cooking parties, or you can hire her. The Podestas loved to have private spirit cooking parties.
Marina M. Abramovich.
Yeah, she is. Does it have a picture of her?
I'll get her.
She is evil incarnate. Just a picture of her look.
The last celebrity people did not expect to see in the Epstein files is Rihanna, but according to reports, her name comes up in call logs from Jeffrey Epstein's personal phone. Word on the street is that Rihanna met up with Jeffrey Epstein through her billionaire Saudi ex-boyfriend Hassan Jameel, whom she dated from 2017 to 2020. Whether or not Rihanna visited Jeffrey Epstein's private island is still a mystery waiting to be resolved. However, sources have revealed that Hassan Jameel and his father were allegedly closely connected to Jeffrey Epstein.
Hey, do you guys remember when Rihanna dated that Saudi billionaire Hassan Jameel around 2017 to 2020? Yes, and it obviously did not work out, and the relationship produced amazing photos of Rihanna telling him off like this. Well, let's just say it's a really good thing that things did not work out between him and Rihanna, because this man and his father are in the files? So Hassan Jameel is a part of one of the wealthiest Arab families in the world. According to the emails, circa 2013, one of Jeffrey's victims was engaging with both Hassan Jameel and his father, Mohammed Jameel. In the files, Hassan Jameel is referred to as HJ, but don't get confused because Henry Jarecki, Jeffrey's therapist buddy who was a co-conspirator, is also sometimes referred to in the emails as HJ, but it's very easy to decipher just like from the context of the emails which HJ is being talked about. There's another reference to HJ, and these email communications are between Jeffrey and one of his victims, obviously. And then here we can see that this victim was engaging with both MJ, Mohammed Jameel, and HJ, Hassan Jameel. Here is another reference to HJ in the emails. And then in 2017, someone, assumingly that same victim, emails Jeffrey, says HJ is now dating Rihanna, Hassan Jameel. And throughout 2013, whenever this victim was engaging with Hassan Jameel and his father, Hassan Jameel was married. He divorced his wife in 2017 right before he began dating Rihanna. So whatever argument or altercation happened here, I'm sure glad it happened, because I don't think that this is something Rihanna's fan base could defend.
Paris Hilton is another controversial name that allegedly pops up in the files, not as a recruiter or a perpetrator, but as someone who almost became a victim of Jeffrey Epstein. In the 2020 docuseries Surviving Jeffrey Epstein, music composer Christopher Mason alleged that Ghilane Maxwell saw a young Hilton at a New York party and told a friend, "She'd be perfect for Jeffrey. Could you introduce us?"
25 years ago, when Paris was just 19, she was apparently spotted at a party during Fashion Week here in New York. Yeah. Paris was an up-and-coming it girl at the time and allegedly caught Ghislaine Maxwell's eye.
Ghislaine said, "Oh my God, who's that?" And my friend said, "Yeah, she's called Paris Hilton." And Ghislaine said, "Oh, God, she'd be perfect for Jeffrey. Could you introduce us?"
A photograph has also surfaced showing Paris Hilton posing with Ghislaine Maxwell at the Ann and John fashion show in New York City on September 18, 2000, around the time the alleged recruitment attempt is said to have taken place. Although Paris continued to deny these claims, Christopher Mason fervently stood behind them, which made people question if Paris was eventually recruited or not. However, in 2023, Paris eventually spoke up about her past and having her innocence taken from her.
Thank you, everyone. I want to thank the bipartisan group of lawmakers standing beside me today, and thank you to every woman, girl, and survivor who's watching. You are the reason that I'm here. It's been 1 year since I stood at the Capitol and passed the Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act. That legislation was deeply personal because I was one of those children. A teenager taken from my home in the middle of the night, locked away, mistreated, and silenced. Coming back to the Capitol, I feel something new. Strength. I didn't always feel strong, but telling the truth again and again is how I found my power. And I want to use that power now to speak about something that I've never fully said aloud. When I was 19 years old, a private, intimate video of me was shared with the world without my consent. People called it a scandal. It wasn't. It was abuse. There were no laws at the time to protect me. There weren't even words for what had been done to me. The internet was still new, and so was the cruelty that came with it. They called me names, they laughed and made me the punchline. They sold my pain for clicks, and then they told me to be quiet, to move on, to even be grateful for the attention. These people didn't see me as a young woman who had been exposed. They didn't see the panic that I felt, the humiliation or the shame. No one asked me what I lost. I lost control over my body, over my reputation. My sense of safety and self-worth was stolen from me.
Sources are alleging that this has a connection to Jeffrey Epstein, or at least his inner circle, but nothing has been officially confirmed just yet. Leonardo DiCaprio was also allegedly mentioned in the files, however indirectly. According to sources, Leonardo's former girlfriend, Alicia Rhea Denkova, shared emails with Jeffrey Epstein within which she mentioned Leonardo.
Leonardo DiCaprio is mentioned in the Epstein files a few times. Leonardo's former girlfriend, Alicia Rhea Denkova, there's emails between her and Epstein. So in the emails I'm about to show you, they're kind of worded weird, so I'll explain before I show them to you. She offers up a friend to Epstein. She calls Epstein a, quote, love bunny, which is so gross to me. And then she even says, I'll find a girl for you this time, I promise. I'm so bitter now, I'll do anything. Europe would be better to find a little girl. She says, I dated Leo. I like super hot boys, offering another girl. All right, so let's get into it. I'm dating Leo, so hot. I like young, super hot boys. I'm like, you know, or Leo, or super rich young boys. I'm super hot now. Where is Skinny Patrick? I need to go and strip for him. Alicia has dated Leonardo DiCaprio, Gerard Butler, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Here's where she tells Epstein, I'll find girl for you this time, I promise. I'm so bitter now, I'll do anything. Europe would be better to find little girl. What do you mean by little girl? This is the email where Alicia calls Jeffrey Epstein a love bunny. She goes, love bunny, do you want to see my friend or not? She would love to see you and she's sweet. And then Epstein goes, I'm not in New York, send photos. And I guess she sends a photo, which is blacked out. And then Epstein says, where is she? And when, where were these pictures taken? And then Alicia says, I just spoke to her. She can come in 10 days and this is her phone number. So to me, it sounds like she is helping to bring in other girls to Epstein and other men, allegedly.
So this does not confirm that he was involved in any wrongdoing. However, being remotely named in the files carries some sort of stigma with it. At the moment, the Epstein files are still being combed through day after day, night after night, and more hidden information is being discovered by the minute. There are celebrities who were allegedly recruiting for Jeffrey Epstein, there were those who were a victim of his, and there were those who were reportedly associated with him for a good time. Regardless of whatever category a name falls into, it is being reported that Ghilane Maxwell is telling it all as a last resort to hold on to her privileges behind bars. But for how long will that last? How long before she runs out of names on her list? Let us know what you think down in the comments and which of the names mentioned in this video came as the most shocking to you.